How you doing, everyone? Mr. Davis here. I just wanted to give you a little bit of feedback on some of the key questions where people seem to be struggling and making some errors on certain questions from the test. So in the assessment, there were lots of questions to do with identifying things and defining things, and that's just essentially on you to learn those definitions where you've got them wrong. But there were also some questions where there was a bit of exam technique involved and things that we have been looking at over the last few weeks. I know it does take a bit of time to get used to it, but I picked out 5 questions which I think we just need to drill down on a bit. So the first one, justify why reaction time is important for a cricketer. 3 marks. Okay, so justify, what does justify mean? Justify essentially is giving reasons in support of. So you're not evaluating, you're not bringing other factors involved into this. You're just talking about reaction time for a cricketer. So you need 3 reasons why a cricketer needs reaction time. One of the ways to make this more straightforward is if you think of different players and the different requirements of cricket players. So for instance, I'm not going to write this out in full, but you can comment on why the batter needs reaction time. So they primarily need it for when the bowler is bowling fast balls at them, and they need to be able to react to the speed of those fast balls. Also need it, maybe if you're a fielder, for the hard shots, the powerful shots that come their way in order to catch. And finally, the wicket keeper might need it because if the ball changes direction off the bat, so the ball was bowled down in one way, it was coming down maybe the left-hand side and the batsman gets a little nick on the ball, the wicket-keeper might need to change direction when the ball comes off the bat. Comes off the bat. Now that does have a bit of agility in it, but the initial part of that is going to just be the reaction or the response to the ball deviating. So 3 different reasons why reaction time is important for the batsman, because if they're facing balls that are coming at them quickly, reaction time is important for the fielders, because if a shot that's being played with power comes towards them, they need to react quickly. And reaction time is important for the wicket keepers because they might need to change direction based on any little nicks and deviation of the ball once it's past the batsperson. Okay, so 3 marks there. The next one, just a short question, is one that people were getting a little bit mixed up on. So explain why the score for the multi-stage fitness test is quantitative, and it's 2 marks. So you're looking at 2 bullet points here. So explain it. So again, you're giving reasons why. So multi-stage fitness test, otherwise known as the bleep test. So why is that quantitative? It's a harder thing to say. Essentially, you're talking about numbers, okay, statistics, data, the result. So it's quantitative. I'm just going to put a Q there because you're basing it on results and essentially numbers. For example, the level you reached on the test. That's what makes it quantitative. But you can also, because it's worth 2 marks, you can say it's not based on the other element of evaluation, which is based on opinions. Okay, it's factual information. Okay, so it's not based on whether someone thinks they could have done better. You're just looking at the actual event. That's what makes it quantitative. Okay, and there's 2 possible comments that you can make there. The third one, evaluate the importance of flexibility for a badminton player. You have to use examples. Okay, so in evaluation, pretty much all evaluation-based questions, the first thing you're going to need to do is define it. Okay, you don't need to do that for justification questions or analysis questions, but you do need to put in an evaluation, even if it's a short answer question like this. So what is the definition of flexibility? You should have, I'm just going to do this in short form, the range of motion at a joint. That's what flexibility is, and you get a mark for putting the definition in. So then you need 2 additional marks from there. Okay. The first one is just essentially saying why flexibility is important. Whenever you're talking about flexibility for a badminton player or any other sports performer, you're linking it to stretching. Okay, stretching or reaching for something. In this case, for a wide shot. You don't need to get specifics about technique and things like that. You just need to be clear that there's some sort of stretch involved, that you're having to reach out for something. That's essentially what you need to do to get yourself a mark there. Okay, so you're bringing in an example from the sport. And then the final one, in an evaluation question, unlike a justification question, you can always then just go to an alternative. Oop, on the screen there. So the alternative could be something like power. And a good phrase to use is it could be deemed, could be seen, it could be deemed, some people may think, it could be deemed that power is more important. And then just give a brief reason why. To be able to play, sorry, not to play, to jump for high shots. Okay, so always link power to jump in. It could be deemed that power is more important to be able to jump for high shots. You give a definition, you bring a reason why with an example, and then you give an alternative. In this case, power is a straightforward one. You don't have to use power. Whichever one you do decide to use, you just bring it in with an example from the game. Okay, the next one, the procedure for the vertical jump test. Now, I think people know how to do this, but what we're not doing very well is actually just breaking it down. So describe the procedure, the vertical jump test, 3 marks. So whenever you have to describe the procedure for the test or say how a test is administered, you are saying something about the start, something about how the test is completed, and then something about the recording of the result. So the starting part of it, which most people got, is you stand side on to the wall, reach up, and mark with chalk. Mark highest point with chalk. So now you've got a mark on the wall, but that's not everything, okay? Then the key part to it is that you then, standing side on, you then jump up and mark a second point as high as you can. Okay, so that's essentially the main thing. You stood there, you've reached up and you put a mark on the wall. You then jump up and mark a second point of the wall. Then the key thing that you do at the end is you measure distance between the 2 marks. That distance is then compared to what we call normative or national data. Now, the reason why you measure the 2 marks is so it doesn't give someone who's 7 foot tall a massive advantage. It's not just how high you can reach. If you're 7 foot tall and you can reach up here from the bottom of the screen, but then when you jump, your mark is here, that's the distance. If you are 5 foot tall and you can reach here, but you can actually jump up to here, even though your mark is not as high as that one, the distance between them is bigger. So you have more power because you're able to generate that force and push up further from the original mark. So it's the key thing is your starting position, the second jump, which you then mark on the wall, and then the measurement of the distance between the two marks, comparing that to normative or national data. Okay, that's the three ways of the 3 marks that you're going to need to pick up for this sort of question. Okay, I think this is the last one. So 2 components of physical fitness that a sports person would need when taking part in football, swimming, or cross country. So that gives you a range of things. So state 2 components of fitness. So stating it there is the first thing, and then you've got to explain it afterwards. So state and explain are the 2 command words. Components of physical fitness, and you can pick out your sport in a second, how they could improve their performance. So let's keep it simple and go football. Okay, and it's 4 marks. So first thing, state 2 components of fitness. So you've got to link it into football in a minute. So let's think of what's important for a football player. So I'm going to go agility is important. And I'm also going to say power. That's a nice easy one. Then I have to say how these components of fitness could improve my performance. So agility is going to mean I can change direction quickly. I'm just going to make it slightly more relevant to football when dribbling with the ball. Or maybe when marking someone. And then power, again, something to do with jumping. When do I jump in football? When jumping for the ball, jumping to head the ball. Head the ball at a corner. So I've made it relevant. I've kept my examples fairly simple. I've just made them relevant by linking them in. So it's going to help me dribbling because I'm going to be able to change direction more fluently. But it's also helped with my power because I'm able to jump higher. So maybe let's just add that in. So maybe jump in higher to head the ball and change direction quickly. We've already got that in there. Okay, so 4 comments, 2 for just stating what the components of fitness are linked into the sport, and then 2 for the impact it's going to have on particular examples in the game. Those are the ways to get the 4 marks there. Okay, those are the 5 questions I've picked out, but obviously you need to mark the rest of it using the mark scheme if that's something you've not done yet. Hopefully you found that useful. Any issues, please let me know. Take care and goodbye.